And Bill said all week long that Eric was under contract, so the writing has made it clear that Ridge and Brooke are just loud and wrong during this entire storyline. What's up, everybody? So I decided to watch the Bold and the Beautiful for the first time in years. It was the last American soap opera that I haven't watched in so long. I did the whole Young and the Restless and General Hospital thing in the fall, and trying to do another little soap renaissance here in the spring. Well, spring is upon us anyway. Coming into Bold and the Beautiful, I knew what I was getting myself into because Bradley Bell has been telling the same stories on repeat for a very long time now. Not necessarily with the same characters, although sometimes with the exact same characters of Ridge, Taylor, Brooke, but still the same kind of storylines. And I do feel like walking into this past week of episodes, that is where I am with it, because it is a lot of love triangles, a Bradley Bell favorite, but also just stupid writing decisions. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you making the decisions that you are making? Why are you making certain characters so very unlikable, even though these are the characters that you like to make win in most situations? Why would you make them so unlikable? I have the same questions I've had with Bold and the Beautiful for a long time after this little experiment. Even though there is promising things and promising ideas, I feel like that it usually comes from Bradley Bell, but the execution is always usually a mess. But let's get into some of the stories, and if you are watching the show, you can make your own comments. I would like you to make your own comments, because some of these things I would like some clarity on from different perspectives, because I haven't seen this in forever, and there's actually a lot of new faces. I do like how they are trying to bring up a lot of the youth characters right now. I think the show does kind of need that, because certain characters are just very played out on this show. And a lot of soap operas, a lot of soaps have their own played out characters, like Sunny on General Hospital, Victor on Young and the Restless, Kristen on Days of Our Lives. I feel like Ridge and Brooke are definitely the main two that are played out on this show, even though they're the faves. I did like what I saw, the little I saw of a Taylor and Deacon connection. I don't know why the show has recast Taylor for the third time over the past few years, it seems like, or at least the past 5 or 6 years. But whatever. She'll always bring Greenlee to me. But Taylor and Deacon did seem fine. Steffy seemed miserable, because she's just saying she wants this to end, her mother's relationship, she doesn't want them together, and it's because Deacon went and married Sheila and put himself on an island. Then Steffy went home and complained to Finn about it. This, to me, is a typical Bold and the Beautiful thing that they do in their storylines, where there's a couple that is together and then some other character has to be nauseatingly annoying about how they don't want that couple together. That seems to be Steffy right now. That is getting that not so great part of being the one complaining about her mother in a relationship with someone she doesn't want her to be with. But that didn't get a lot of airtime this week. What did get a lot of airtime this week, it seems as though Bill and Katie have started their own business called Logan, their own fashion business, of course. That is the core of this show. And this is what I've gotten from the story. And you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But it seems as though Brooke and Ridge pushed Eric out of Forrester for whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe it was an age thing. And then Bill and Katie took him on at Logan. He made designs for them while he was working for them on contract. But then Eric went back to Forrester. But now Bill and Katie want to use Eric's designs when he was on contract for them. And somehow Ridge and Brooke have turned that into a huge thing, like it's the worst thing ever, even though throughout this entire week of episodes Bill kept bringing up that Eric was under contract when these designs were drawn up. So Ridge and Brooke are just coming out of this looking so terrible to me. And, the show was going for comedy when Ridge and Brooke had Bill and Katie over for dinner, the whole pepper mill thing for the Bill and Ridge rivalry. But it kind of played out the way I expected it to, except I did like the fact that Katie got to call Brooke out on all of her bullshit. I feel like that has been a long time coming from even back when I used to watch. Of course, Katie even bringing up the fact that she's been the younger sister, Brooke's been the older sister that's never wanted Katie to succeed. And at one point, Bill abandoned her too because Brooke wanted him. So Brooke is always doing things to ruin Katie. Now Katie's trying to make a name for herself in the fashion business. There was good dialogue at times, especially with Katie versus Brooke. I felt the Bill and Ridge dialogue was more played for laughs in their rivalry. But any way you slice up this story, Brooke and Ridge are in the wrong. Like, there's no way that Bill and Katie are in the wrong here. Eric was under contract when he made the designs for Logan. They're using it. And yeah, they're saying Eric is the one that made these designs publicly. But, like, that's also the truth. So I just don't understand why Ridge and Brooke and even Eric himself have been so mad about that happening. But I worry because obviously Forrester usually wins in these scenarios. But it would be nice for the show to make the Logan thing last longer than a few months and maybe even come up on top for a long while. Because with the way they're writing it, who can be rooting for Ridge and Brooke in the storyline? They are just totally in the wrong. So I don't know if I'll be continuing watching after this, but if I do, I would like to see how that plays out and how, if Brooke and Ridge and Eric actually lose this war for now. Brooke says Katie declared war now, but, like, it's impossible to root for Forrester in this scenario. And the writing has made it clear. And Bill said all week long that Eric was under contract, so the writing has made it clear that Ridge and Brooke are just loud and wrong during this entire storyline. Maybe it's the show's way of trying to make Ridge and Brooke so unlikable that maybe they can finally write their overplayed asses off the show. But I would highly doubt that. And then the other storyline is definitely this whole youth thing with these characters that I don't really know much, I mean, I know kind of who's related to who, but I'm not even going to get into all of that because I don't know who everyone is related to. They were still quite young when I was still watching the show. But it seems we have our youth love triangle with Will, Dylan, and Electra. Will is played by Joshua Morrow's son. I do know that. Old Nick on The Young and the Restless. So he is bringing his father's acting skills to this show. The Will and Electra scenes at the beginning of last week were kind of tough to get through. I just feel like the Electra character is coming across as a spoiled brat. I don't know if that's what they're going for, because in these same episodes, it did seem like the show was trying to get us to buy that Will and Electra are the couple that was maybe meant to be together, and others have been getting in their way. But the show has also made Dylan way more likable than Electra, and Will and Dylan are currently roommates, and from everything I got from these episodes, it seems like Dylan comes from a very rough background, or a lot happened to her when she was younger and she needed a place to stay. Electra was upset because I guess at one point Will and Dylan shared a kiss, even though she kissed someone else too. That's what I got from the Will and Electra argument. So she didn't really have a leg to stand on there. But then later in the week, Will and Dylan are kissing again. But yeah, I mean, I like the Will and Dylan connection more than the other way around. I don't know if that is what we are supposed to be rooting for, but that's kind of the way I saw it this past week. I don't know where RJ stands in all of this either, but I don't know if it's a quad triangle. I don't know who's related to who in this triangle. But it wasn't the worst, but I mean, it wasn't the best either. I just don't think the Electra and Will connection really has the chemistry or really the acting chops in general. So yeah, after my first time watching in like 3 years almost or more, I kind of feel like I was gonna feel the way I do. Like Bradley Bell's writing is what it usually is. There's some good ideas, but the execution is a mess. I was not expecting the youth being front and center so much, although Bold and the Beautiful has done this in the past when they need to do it. But it doesn't always catch on, and I don't know if this triangle is going to catch on. I feel like Bradley wants it to be, it's Steffy, like this generation's Steffy, Liam, Hope. I wouldn't go that far. I didn't even like Steffy, Liam, and Hope, so yeah. But I'm trying to do my little soap opera spring rejuvenation here. We'll see if I have more to say about Bold and the Beautiful in the future, especially since there's only like 3 episodes of Beyond the Gates this week. I might just talk about Bold and the Beautiful 2 later this week. I mean, they only have 3 episodes too because March Madness is this week. But yeah, let me know in the comments, those of you that watch Bold and the Beautiful, how you are feeling with the show at this current moment.